Yeah. So good morning, students. Sorry, good afternoon, students. Actually, I got an information that 160 members are registered for this session, but I'm able to see only 80 members that are logged in. That means only 50% of the students have logged in. So what about the others? Anybody knows about your friends? Sai Krishna, I didn't get you. Update means? I didn't get you, Sai Krishna. Yeah, I'll share soon. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, shall we start? Very from today onwards, we will be in completely new technology, machine learning. Okay, so let me share my screen. So all of you able to see? Please acknowledge through chat. All of you able to see my screen? Okay. Okay, let's start. Okay. So machine learning, we are going to start from today. Okay. Okay, right. So what is machine learning? So actually, what do you mean by traditional computer programming in general? I think from first year onwards, you people are working with programming. That means you may start with C programming, right? But so many people have some difficulties in understanding the code. Okay, uh, that means most of the people, of course, if the students has passion in doing programming, if everything that is good, but some students may feel that program itself a complex task. Am I right? So identifying the logic and writing the program accordingly is itself a nightmare for some of the students. Am I correct or not? So what the students will see is there are so much complexity in the programming, right? But in machine learning means identifying the complexity in structure of the data. Okay, the machine learning algorithm generally identifies the complexity in structure of the data. Generally human beings, what we'll see, generally human beings see the complexity in programming. Machine learning algorithms will see complexity in the structured data, structure of the data. So how that structure can be learned automatically means that is the main aim of the machine learning. Okay, identifying or learning the structure in the given data. Okay, that is the aim of machine learning. Okay, so this is the let us see some of the definitions of machine learning. Okay, so this is the first definition, that is machine learning is machine learning is the about a construction and study of the system that can learn from the data. Okay, in the machine learning, what you will do is you will construct some systems, or you'll construct some algorithms, or you'll construct some models. Those models will learn from the data what you supply. Okay, in yesterday's class and day before yesterday class, we have worked some data sets, right? Data means those data sets actually. Okay, so which is very different. This machine learning is very different from the traditional computer programming. Let us see what is traditional programming actually. This is, am I right? What you will do generally in programming, any language you take either C, C++, Java, or any computer programming language you take. So what we will do actually, we supply inputs. Okay, we'll supply inputs. Otherwise, they're also called as observations. That will be taken by your program and process it, and it processes it and produces the outputs. Okay, it will take inputs. Okay, it will take inputs, that is observation, and it will give it will deliver to the program, and that program, with the help of computer, it will execute those inputs and give you the output. Am I right? These are the traditional approach that we seen from our first year. Am I right? From C programming language. But what is a machine learning? Machine learning is the field of study that gives computer the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. Okay, there is no need of explicit program. Okay, that means cracking of logic is not your job. Okay, cracking the logic is not your job. Cracking of the logic is the machine's job. Okay, what we'll do is here, according to the Arthur Samuel's definition, okay, he says that if you want to get the output from a machine or any other system, you no need to give any explicit program. Okay, that is the definition of Arthur Samuel. So if you want to represent the Arthur Samuel's machine learning definition, okay, this is the diagram. So you supply inputs and outputs. Okay, you supply what? Inputs and outputs that will go to the computer, and it will gives the program. Will you find the difference between the traditional programming and machine learning programming? Okay, here what you will give is, you will give inputs to your program, with the help of computer, your program execute those inputs and gives the outputs. That is traditional program what we are doing till now. But the machine learning, what it will do is, it will take inputs and outputs, and it will send to with the help of the computer, it will releases the program, or the program or model is the output of your machine learning. Simply, I want to say. So here, the Arthur Samuel illustrated this definition using this famous game called Chinese checker game. How many of you know Chinese checkers game? Acknowledge through chat. How many of you know Chinese checker game? Okay, Chinese checker game means what? Actually, there will be two players. Okay, there will be two players. You will have some coins at your side, and there are some coins in your friend side. Okay, the rule of the game is doing some movements. All your coins should reach to any one corner of the board. Okay, so here one person is me and the second person is system. Okay, one person is me and second person is the system. If the system wants to play with me the Chinese checker game, what it should do? Initially, it should learn Chinese checker game. Am I right? So what my system will do is, it will learn all the possible steps that is needed to win the game. All the possible steps. Okay. All the possible steps it will learn. Similarly, if you take a chess game, okay, the computer will learn all the possible steps which leads to win. The thing is, you have to play with the computer, okay, the chess game, and you have to, and you will also try to win the game with the computer. At the same time, the computer will also tries to win the game with you. So of course, your how you have learned means, you have so much experience. Okay, from childhood, you may play the chess game with so many of your friends or your brother, sister, or parents. Okay, you will get so much experience. You will get so much experience that will stores in your brain. With that experience, you will play chess game with the computer. Then what about the experience of your computer? What about the experience of your computer? The computer will also identify all the probable steps. Okay, do you know how many steps will remember by the system? If the system wants to win the game, it should remember at least 13 to 15,000 steps. It should remember at least 13 to 15,000 steps. Okay, and it should play accordingly with you in order to win the game. Okay, similarly for the chess game also. Okay, so what you are doing actually, you are actually giving some steps to learn. Okay, you are making your system to learn the game. Okay, that is the machine learning. Okay, let us go something in depth for the definition. This is another definition of machine learning, which has been given by Tom Mitchell, the professor of Carnegie Mellon University. Okay, for example, a computer program is said to learn from experience E with respect to some class of tasks T and performance measure P. Okay, if its performance at tasks in T as measured by P improves with experience E. Let us map this definition to some game. Okay, here let us map this definition to chess game. Okay, your computer is learning playing the chess game. Okay, so here what are the tasks? Can anybody tell me, according to the chess game, what will be the task? Acknowledgement through chat window. As per the chess game, okay, what will be the tasks? What will be the task? That is steps. Okay, steps are the tasks. Experience, either it will wins the game or wrong steps. Experience means sometimes it may give some wrong steps. Okay, but before as per those wrong steps, the system may lose the game, or system may lose some valuable coins. It may lose minister, it may lose bishop, it may lose horse, like that. Okay, so, and what is the performance measure of P? The probability of winning the game. Okay, the probability of winning the game. So what it will do is, it will perform the task T with the performance P, which will improve with the experience E. Ante kada ipudu, for example, if you are playing chess game first time, what is the probability of win or loss? What is the probability of win or loss? There is a probability of losing is more than winning. Am I right? Why? Because there your experience is 0. Will you agree or not? If you are playing the chess game, for the first time, your experience is 0. So the winning probability will also be 0. Am I correct or not? Okay, if you want to win the game, what you're supposed to do? You have to increase your performance. That will comes with only experience. Okay, that will only comes with the experience. Okay, experience means the different situations that you are facing while playing the game. You may lose some coins, you may lose the game immediately after only 2 to 3 steps. That everything will comes under experience. Okay, so what you'll do is, according from that experience, you will learn the game. You will learn the game and you will improve your performance, which leads to the winning the game. Okay, so that is what the Tom Mitchell wants to say. A computer is said to learn from experience E with respect to some class of tasks T and performance measure P if its performance at tasks in T measured by performance P improves with experience E. Here, this definition says your performance will be increased with the experience. Are you following or not? If you play more number of games, you will have more amount of experience. If you have more amount of experience, then automatically your performance will be increased. Will you agree or not? Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay, let us map this to an example. For example, if your system wants to recognize your handwriting, okay, handwriting from these digits 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, from up to 9. In this example, okay, handwriting recognition example, I want you to identify what is the task, what is the performance, and what is the experience. Can anybody acknowledge through chat? In the given example, that is handwriting recognition, okay, can anybody tell me what will be the task and what will be the performance and what will be the experience? Yes? Anybody? Just respond through chat. Think you are a machine. Think you are a machine and you are supposed to identify the digits. Task, recognition of numbers. Good. Performance. What is the performance then? Identifying the correct numbers. Am I right? Identifying the correct numbers and training experience. Corrects and wrongs. Am I right? Okay, let us see what are the task, performance measures, and training experience. Okay, your task is correct. That is handwritten digits identification. Performance measure is percentage of digits classified correctly. For example, I'll give you all these 10 numbers. How many numbers that you can recognize correctly? That is performance. Am I right? Out of 10, if you recognize only 3 digits, your performance, how much your performance measure? 30%. Am I right? Am I right? If you can able to identify 5 numbers out of 10 numbers, then your performance measure is 50%. Okay. Then what is the training experience? The data set of digits for given classification. So how you are classifying the each and every digit, whether you are classifying correctly or wrongly, that doesn't matter. So how you are working with these digits, okay, with win or lose or correct or wrong, okay, that everything will comes under experience. Okay, you understand? So why machine learning is hard? Okay, let me first ask you, all of you are clear with the definition? We have up to now we have just defined the machine learning. How am I clear about the definition? Please acknowledge through chat. The definition is clear, all of you? Okay, good. Good. Yes, sure. So, so why machine learning is hard? Okay. Okay. At present on the screen, what you are seeing? Please acknowledge me through chat. What you are seeing on the screen at present? Twins. Okay. Some people told twins. Okay. Some people told babies. Right. Babies. 2 babies. Good. Any opinions? What you are currently seeing on the screen? 2 babies. Okay, good. Okay. So we can see those are twins or babies, right? Animals and humans. Oh, very good. You are Kaja Mohiddin, you have very deep observation. Very good, very good. We have animals on the bed sheet, right? We have camels. We have elephants. 2 babies wrapped in towels. It is very good observation. Another good observation. Good. Anything else? Anybody? Babies, animals, towels. Apart from this, anybody can see anything on the picture? Smile. Very good. Very good. Very good. So these you have given these number of specifications that what you are seeing on this currently displaying on the picture, currently displaying on the screen. Do you know what a system can see? Your ML algorithm sees like this. Okay, you can see babies, you can see their smile, you can see the animals on the bed sheet, towels, everything. But your machine learning algorithm will see this entire picture as the numbers, entire picture as the numbers. That's why the machine learning is something hard. Okay, so now how many of you able to distinguish different objects in this? Can anybody tell me what you are currently seeing on the screen through chat? What you are currently seeing on the screen? Chicken, okay. KFC, okay, right? Anything else? Dogs, puppies, and chicken, okay. So you will be very good. You will be able to identify, right, which picture is puppy and which picture is chicken, right? Plate. Oh, very good. But the thing is, you should your system should differentiate which picture is chicken and which picture is puppy. Okay, here in the title you can observe Labradoodle or fried chicken. Labradoodle or fried chicken. The system is able to differentiate what is the Labradoodle and what is the fried chicken. Okay. Similarly, we have one more picture. Okay. What is the puppy or what is the bagel? You should differentiate. Okay. Are you able to see puppy or bagel? Similarly, which is the sheepdog or which is the mop? Of course, as we are human beings, we can easily distinguish. But the challenge is your system should identify this. So your system should differentiate which is the sheepdog and which is the mop. Similarly, we have one more example. Chihuahua or muffin. Which pictures are muffins and which pictures are Chihuahua? Okay. As a human beings, we can easily identify, right? Next, barn owl or apple. Barn owl or apple. Okay. Here we have two types of images, barn owl and apple. We can easily distinguish, but what about your system? That is the challenging for your system to identify. Here, what you can see on the screen? What you can see on the screen now? What you can see on the screen presently? Can anybody tell me through chat? Only parrot. Only parrot. Glaucoma. Glaucoma. Parrot and some dish. Okay. Glaucomore. Glaucomore and parrot. Here you can identify broccoli salad. Okay, good. Very good. Okay, we can able to distinguish. Now we have to see how your system is going to distinguish which is parrot and which is broccoli salad. So now let us see the types of machine learning. Okay, actually for all the machine learning algorithms or the machine learning techniques, the superset is artificial intelligence. Okay, so what is the aim of artificial intelligence is, it is the science that enables computers to mimic the human intelligence. Okay, that means what you will do is you are going to create an artificial brain. You are going to create an artificial brain which functions just similar to your brain. Okay, that is the main aim of your artificial intelligence. From that artificial intelligence, one term has been derived, that is what? Machine learning. Okay, so it is a subset of your artificial intelligence. Okay, it is a subset of your artificial intelligence that enables the machines to improve the tasks with experience. Improve the task with the experience. That is what the definition we already understood in the previous slides. And deep learning is subset of machine learning. Okay. So what is the relationship between AI, ML and DL? ML is subset of AI and DL is subset of ML. Okay. I'll tell you what is the difference between machine learning and deep learning when we start deep learning concepts. Okay. So what either machine learning or deep learning algorithm, both the algorithms will try to improve the performance with respect to given tasks with the help of the experience. Okay. So in the machine learning, we have three types, that is supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. For all these algorithms, except reinforcement learning, for supervised learning and unsupervised learning, the data sets will be supplied. But in supervised learning, the data sets will be supplied with inputs as well as outputs. Okay, that means the data set will be look like this. These are the inputs and these are the outputs. Okay, these are the inputs and these are the outputs. You are supposed to train with the help of with the help of these inputs and outputs. That is what a supervised learning. For example, in childhood, in the childhood, how you have learned apple, A for apple, B for biscuit, C for cat. Now how you are able to identify, exactly the objects. Okay, so at childhood you may have a supervised learning. Okay, your father or mother will says that they will give you a fruit and they will say that, child, it is a apple, or it is a mango, or it is a lemon, or it is a melon, like that. They will supervise you. Okay, so along with the inputs, they will also give the outputs. Okay, then you will understand, okay, this fruit is called apple, okay, this fruit is called mango, and this fruit is called melon, like that you will learn. Okay, that kind of learning you will call it as a supervised learning. Okay, then in unsupervised learning, here also the data will be given, but this time no output will be supplied. This time no output will be supplied. Okay, but your machine learning algorithm should be able to identify some patterns, and it should identify what is that pattern comes under. Okay, for example, if there is a supermarket, okay, if there is a supermarket and you are the owner, okay, as per the purchases, can you able to group the customers? Please acknowledgement through chat. For example, you are the owner of a supermarket. Okay, there are so many sales per day and per month. Can you able to distinguish different customers based on the sales? Say yes or no. Based on the sales, can we able to differentiate the customers? Yes, yes, we can differentiate. For example, some customers will purchase goods under 1,000 rupees. Some customers may purchase goods between 2,000 to 5,000. Some customers may purchase the goods from 5,000 to 10,000. Some customers may purchase the goods above 10,000. Okay, all these are all different types of group of customers. Okay, all those are called as a different types of group of customers. Okay, that group I am calling it as a cluster. So for supervised learning, the examples, the algorithms are classification and regression algorithms. When you implement this classification and regression algorithms, okay, you will be supplied both inputs and outputs while you are implementing clustering, association rules, recommender systems, for all these kind of algorithms, only inputs will be supplied, but no outputs will be supplied. Are you now you clear about supervised and unsupervised learning? Yes. What is the difference between supervised and unsupervised learning? Supervised learning is also called as a label-based learning. Supervised learning means what? Label-based learning. Label-based learning means only inputs will be supplied. Only inputs as well as outputs will be supplied in supervised learning. But in unsupervised learning, only inputs will be supplied. No outputs will be supplied. You have to identify the patterns. You means your algorithm should identify the pattern. Your algorithm should identify the pattern. Okay. So classification and regression are the examples of supervised learning. Clustering, association rules, and recommender systems will comes under unsupervised learning. In this training, in this machine learning training program, we learn about classification, we learn about regression, we learn about clustering and recommender system. Association rules we are not discussing due to time being. Okay. Apart from these two, we have one more learning, that is what? Reinforcement learning. It is also called as the award and punishment based learning. Award and punishment based learning. Students, tell me, how many of you have learned maths without being beaten by your teacher or parents? Anybody? Have you? How many of you have learned maths in childhood without being beaten by your teacher or parents? Oh, so many people are learned like that only. Okay, very good, very good, very good. But at any instant of time, for example, if I give you 2 plus 2, some people may write it as a 5, some people write it as a 6, some people write it as a 4, like that. So if you write 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, is it wrong or right? People will appreciate you, or they'll punish you if you write 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Childhood, I'm telling, not now. Okay. If you perform 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, then people will appreciate you. Very good, right? If you write 2 plus 2 is equal to 6, then people will scold, or people will guide, or people will punish. Okay. Slap me. Okay. So that means here there is only one input. Okay. There is only one input. Based on how you are learning that input, that means based on punishment based or reward based, this reinforcement learning will happen. For example, I'll give the picture of a cat. I'll give the picture of a cat. My machine should say it is a cat. Then I'll give a reward, 1 point to it. Okay, I'll give another cat image to my system. I'll tell to recognize it. If it recognizes it as a dog, then it'll give a punishment. Okay, so that this reward and punishment will be done for every input, for every individual input. According to this punishments and rewards, your system is going to learn. Okay, that kind of learning we will call it as a reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning. Okay, just like how you start learning walking, right? So many times you may fall down. Okay, again you will try to walk, again you will fall down, again you will try to walk, but at last definitely you will learn how to walk. Am I correct or not? That kind of learning it is. Okay, reinforcement learning. Is it clear, all of you? All the type of learnings? Say yes or no in chat. Any doubts are there so far? Any doubts? Shall I proceed further? See, if you have any doubts, please ask me, no problem. Okay, why? Because these are very fundamental concepts. We should understand. Otherwise, you won't understand the algorithms what we will discuss in future sessions. Okay, is it clear? Shall I proceed further? Shall I proceed further? Yes or no? Okay. Okay. Now let us understand the data. I'm saying that you will learn from the data, you will learn from the inputs, or you will learn from input and output data like that, right? So now let us see how the data will look like. This is how the data will look like. Okay. The data will be supplied like this. Okay. Each and every row here, for example, if you take this table 1, x1 and y1. Okay. This is one example. Example 1. It has a input x1 and output y1. This input is also called as the features. Okay. And output is y1. Okay. These features will also called as a independent variables. And y1 is called as a dependent variable. This is for one example. Like that, we have so many examples. N number of examples are there. Okay. 1, 2, 3, so on up to n, x1, x2, x3, so on up to xn, and y1, y2, y3, so on up to yn. So here, this is what the table which is in gray color, the table which is in gray color is called as a single featured data. Single featured data. How can you say that it is a single featured data? Means how many inputs are supplying? Only one input, right? In each and every example, how many inputs we have? Only one input and one output. X1 is input and corresponding y1 is the output. X2 is the input and corresponding y2 is the output. Similarly, so on up to xn is the input and similarly yn is the output. So this x1 and y1 will constitute one example, which is also called as an instance. Okay, which is also called as a instance. Similarly, x2, y2 will constitute one instance. x3, y3, so on up to xn, yn, it constitutes n number of instances. Okay, and the table which has been shown in the white color is called as the multi-featured data. What do you mean by multi-featured data? Here, it supplies m number of inputs. Okay, for example, x11 is called as the first input of first example, second input of first example, third input of first example, so on up to m input of first example, and y1 is the output. Okay, let me give you one example. For single feature data, you will be given square feet of a house. Okay, square feet of a house, and you have to say the price. Here, square feet of the house is called as the input, and the price you are saying, that is called output. Like that, so many SFTs will be supplied and so many prices will be supplied. But here I am supplying only SFT, so it is called as only single feature. Here we have multiple features. Along with SFT, I'll give number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, okay, kitchen dimensions, okay, or balconies. Like that, if I give so many inputs, based on all those inputs, you are supposed to predict the price. Okay, so not only SFT, I'm also providing some other inputs to predict the price of the house. So this kind of data will call it as a multi-featured data. This is what we'll call it as a multi-featured data. Okay. Only thing is, what is the difference between single feature data and multi-feature data is how many inputs or how many independent variables that you are supplying. If you are supplying only one independent variable, then it is a single feature data. If you are supplying multiple independent variables, then it is called as a multi-feature data. Okay. So these, according to the outputs, okay, sometimes the output may be a continuous value, or maybe the output value may be a discrete value. I'll tell you what is a continuous, what is the difference between continuous and discrete. For example, temperatures. Is it a continuous or not? temperatures. Is it a continuous variable? Yes. Please acknowledge through chat. Temperature. Predicting tomorrow's temperature. Predicting tomorrow's temperature. Is it a continuous variable? Yes. Predicting tomorrow humidity. Tomorrow day's humidity. Okay. So that is what. Okay. That is what? A continuous value. Then what is discrete value? 0 or 1. Okay, discrete value means which is not continuous. Maybe EC people can understand what is the difference between continuous and discrete. Continuous means you cannot expect the value. That value range is from 0 to infinity. The value range is from 0 to infinity or minus infinity to plus infinity. That is continuous. But discrete means discrete values only in the within the range. Very good. Will it rain or not? Yes. True or false? On or off? Okay. Yes or no? Male or female? Live or dead? All these are only two. All actually this on or off, true, false, live or dead. All these things. All this will comes under the binary class. Okay. Right. Binary class means what? We have only two classes of outputs. Only two. If you take any example, if you take any independent variable, okay, only two outputs are possible. Binary class, either true or false. For example, identifying a mail, spam or not. That's it. Either the given mail is spam or not, true or false. That is binary class. Only two possible outputs. Only two possible outputs. That is what binary class. What do you mean by multi-class? More than two. Okay, more than two. For example, yeah, very good. Passenger class in Titanic, very good. There may be first class, second class, third class. Am I right? And similarly, species, flowers of flower species, Setosa, Virginica, versicolor, like that. Dyes. Okay, dies. Why? Because it has only range, right? 1 to 6 1 to 6 only, right? So it is called as a multi-class variable. Numbers on dice, very good. Okay, why? Because 1 to 6, there is a range, a specific range is there. That kind of values we'll call it as a discrete values. Those are called as a discrete values. You understand? What is the difference between continuous value and discrete values, or continuous outputs and discrete outputs? Generally, these continuous outputs are used in regression algorithms, and discrete outputs are used in the classification algorithms. Am I clear? Anybody have any doubt? Please acknowledgement through chat. Anybody having any doubt? Clear? Shall I proceed further? Examples of continuous. Yeah, temperature, humidity. Temperature, humidity, those are continuous values predicting the tomorrow's temperature. Or stock price. Stock price, you know what is stock market? Shares, share price. What will be the tomorrow's share price? We cannot estimate. What will be the petrol cost? 1 liter petrol cost. Can you predict? Can't. It may be 70 rupees or maybe 100 rupees. We cannot predict, right? So it will be a continuous value. Okay. Price of any stock, predicting price of a stock, price of a share, temperature value, humidity value, all these are all comes under continuous values. Okay. Binary means true or false. Yesterday we have worked with the Titanic data set, right? Titanic data set. As per the inputs that have been given, you should predict that particular person is live or dead. Only two possibilities, right? Either that person will be live or dead. If you take any person's, any number of features, the Titanic data set, the output is only survived, whether that particular person survived or not. Okay, he is dead or live. That will comes under binary. Multi-class means predicting a particular flower species based on the given features. Okay, based on the color and shape, can you able to identify a flower? How many flowers we have? maybe 6 to 7 flowers I can identify. Lotus, rose, okay, like that. Fruits based on the color, shape, and fragrance, okay. How you can predict a particular fruit, okay. We don't have infinite number of fruits, right? We have only some limited number of fruits, okay. The number of fruits will be in some particular range. Am I clear? Am I clear about binary and multi-class examples? Okay. Now let us go to the next slide. Now let us understand what you mean by this hypothesis. It's very important. Please pay attention. Okay. Actually, first let us understand what is hypothesis space. That hypothesis space is represented by capital H. Okay. Actually, hypothesis space is set of different hypothesis functions of same type. Of same type means it may be a single degree polynomial, a double degree polynomial, like that. Okay. Let us see what is the hypothesis function. See, like this. The function that is used to estimate, okay, that is used to estimate a particular output for a given input features. Okay. So if I have a hypothesis space, I may have so many n number of hypothesis functions, which I can say represent as h1 is equal to f of x1, where f of x1 is a x1 function. You know how to represent a function, right? And h2 is f of x2. Like that, we have hn is equal to f of xn. But your algorithm should select any one hypothesis function which can be worked for all the examples in the dataset. Are you following or not? You will be given a hypothesis space that have so many hypothesis functions, but at the end of the learning, your model or algorithm will select any one function or finalizes any one function that is applicable for all the examples in the data set. Okay, that is what we will call it as a hypothesis function. And next is the error. What do you mean by error? For example, if you take an instance xi and yi, for example, if you see the previous slides, see, for example, I will select x1 and y1. Okay, here I have given generally xi and yi. Okay, think I is equal to 1. Okay, so with xi, I will take xi and I will apply that particular hypothesis function on xi, and I'll get that, I'll get some value. Am I right? If that value is not same as your actual output, here xi is what your input and yi is what actual output, and this h of xi is called as the predicted output. Okay, so here the error is defined as the difference between predicted output and actual output. That is the error. What is the error? Error is the difference between predicted output and actual output. You may ask, sir, what is the predicted output? Predicted output is the value that has been obtained by a hypothesis function that is selected in the hypothesis space. The model will think that this hypothesis function is apt for your data. Then what it will do is it will calculate the h of x. Okay, if it is equal to the actual output, then error is 0. Am I right? If the predicted output and the actual output are same, then what is the error? Error is 0. Then that function will be finalized. Are you following or not? If it is a non-zero, then it will do some process. Okay. What is that process? It will try to change the bias. It will try to change the bias. Okay. For example, for H1, the bias is what? A1 and B1. Let me show you how the complete hypothesis function can be represented like this. H1 of x1 is equal to a1 x1 plus b1. Okay, actually it is into a1 into x1 plus b1. This is what our hypothesis function. So here I will substitute x1 here, and a1 and b1 are the constants. Those are the some random values will be assigned by your model. Okay, a1 and b1 are the model coefficients, and I'll substitute input x1 and I'll calculate the value of h1 and x1. If that h1 of x1 value is same as your y1, then the error will be 0. If you are not getting error is equal to 0, then it will select for some other A's and B's. For example, it selects A2, B2. Again, some other random value. So this procedure repeats until your error is 0 or minimum. Okay. So what is adjusting actually? It is continuously changing the values of A1 and B1 or A and B, continuous values of A and B. Okay. In the first iteration, assume that the values are A1 and B1, but you are not getting 0 error. So what it will do is it will switch to A2, B2. Again, it will calculate H1, X1. Okay. Still you are getting error. Again, it will switch to A3, B3. Still you are getting error. So this procedure repeated until your error becomes 0 or your error becomes minimum. Optimum error is there. Okay. So you are continuously changing the model coefficients. Okay. That is what we'll call it as a bias. Okay. The weights are the constants that are associated with the given hypothesis function. This hypothesis function is also called as a model. Okay. Or you can say that weights of hypothesis function, constants that are associated with the hypothesis function, or model coefficients, all these are called as the bias. Okay. Is it clear? Is it clear, all of you? Any doubts? Any doubts? Here you should understand what is hypothesis space, what is a hypothesis function, what is error, and what is bias. Why I'm saying these four means these are the four basic terminologies that we have to understand if you want to understand the machine learning. Okay. What are those? Hypothesis space, hypothesis function, error, and bias. Okay. Now let us move on to the next slide. So this is the machine learning pipeline. Okay. So first we'll have a training data. Okay. For example, you have a baby. Okay. Otherwise, you have a brother or a sister. Okay. Who are 5 years or 6 years old. Okay. Your mother ordered to make your sister or brother to learn numbers. So what you will do? అంటే మీ మదర్ లేకపోతే ఫాదర్ ఎవరో మీ బ్రదర్ ఆర్ సిస్టర్కి నంబర్స్ నేర్పించండి అని చెప్పారు. సో మీరు ఏం చేస్తారు? ఫస్ట్ ప్లీజ్ షేర్ యువర్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ ఇన్ ద చాట్ బాక్స్. Please participate. Then only it will be an interactive session. Only 1, 2, 3. ABC. No. Only numbers. Train by starting with basics. Okay. What basics? First you train with fingers. Good. Show numbers to them. Very good. Using fingers. So using fingers, you will learn those. You will make your brother or sister to learn the numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, so on up to 20. Okay. If you are beyond 20, you don't have more than 20 fingers, right? What you will do? If you want to make your brother or sister to learn the numbers beyond 20, what you will do? You'll write on some paper or you'll write on some cardboard or something like that. Okay. Okay. By writing those numbers, you will make your brother or sister to learn those numbers. Am I right? On the slate, on the paper, whatever. So how many numbers you will, how many numbers you'll make your brother or sister to learn? అంటే మీ బ్రదర్ ఆర్ సిస్టర్ కి ఎన్ని నెంబర్స్ నేర్పుతారు మాక్సిమం? 100? ఇంకా 100? అందరూ 100? ఓకే. 1000? అబ్బా, అశ్విన్ దుర్గా వజ్జాల, యూ హ్యావ్ వెరీ గుడ్ పేషెన్స్. 1000 numbers, 10 numbers. ఓకే. 500? Actually, in my opinion, 30 numbers are enough. No need of 100 numbers. Okay, 30 numbers are enough. Am I visible? Thirty numbers are enough. Why? Because after 30 numbers, your brother or sister will automatically learn the remaining numbers. Okay, so you will have some basic example that is from 1 to 30. Okay, I'll call this 1 to 30 examples are the training data for your brother or sister. Okay, from 1 to 30, from 1 to 30, it is training data, I can call it as. From 31 to remaining numbers will be learned automatically by your brother or sister. Okay, so by learning that data from 1 to 30, automatically your brother or sister will build a model in their brains. Okay, 3-1 31, 3-2 32, 3-3 33. Similarly, 4-1 41, 4-2 42, 4-3 43. Similarly, 5-1 51, 5-2 53, 5-4 54, like that. So they will build some model inside their brain according to the data that you have trained with for them. Okay, so you will have the training data first, which will build a model. Okay, and it will construct a machine learning algorithm. A machine learning algorithm. Now you have to test your brother or sister is correctly learned your ట్రైనింగ్ డేటా ఆర్ నాట్. అంటే 1 నుంచి 30 దాకా మీ బ్రదర్ అండ్ సిస్టర్ కరెక్ట్ గా నేర్చుకున్నారా లేదా అని టెస్ట్ చేయాలి. ఎలా టెస్ట్ చేస్తారు? ఖచ్చితంగా వాళ్ళకి మీరు కొత్త ఇన్పుట్ డేటా ఏదో ఇవ్వాలి, అంతే కదా. మీరు 30 దాకా నేర్పారు, సో మీరు ఇప్పుడు ఎక్కడి నుంచి అడగాలి? ఇప్పుడు మీరు 31 నుంచి అడగాలి, లేదా 61 నుంచి అడగాలి, ఏదో ఒక కొత్త నెంబర్ అడగాలి. అడిగినప్పుడు ఎలా చెప్తున్నాడో చూడాలి. ఒకవేళ కరెక్ట్ గా ప్రెడిక్ట్ చేశారనుకోండి, దెన్ ఇట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ అ సక్సెస్ఫుల్ మోడల్. అంటే మీ బ్రదర్ ఆర్ సిస్టర్ బ్రెయిన్ లో ఉన్నది సక్సెస్ఫుల్ మోడల్ అనమాట. ఒకవేళ మీరు 31 ఇస్తే వాళ్ళు దాన్ని 41 అని అన్నారు అనుకోండి, మళ్ళీ వాళ్ళకి ట్రైనింగ్ కావాలి. ఓకే, that is what exactly happens with your system also. Okay, for example, you want to build a robot. Okay, for example, you want to build a robot which can identify the number, you will make your system to learn up to 30. Okay, now you will supply 41 to your system and you will see whether your system is correctly saying it is 41 or not. If it is correctly saying it is 41, then your robot has built a successful model. Okay, if it is not saying it is 41, it is giving some other number, okay, then your robot still needs a training. This is the cycle. All of you have understood this block diagram? Yes? Any doubts? Please acknowledge through chat. Is this clear? The machine learning pipeline is clear. Any doubts? Please ask. If you have any doubts, you are open to ask. No problem. Okay. The training data will go to your baby or robot. You will make your robot to train from that data. Your robot automatically builds an algorithm or a model. If you want to test that model, a new input will be given. If that model is correctly predicting, then I can say that that model is a successful model. If it is not correctly predicting, then the still training is needed. Simple. Okay. That is your machine learning pipeline. Hope all of you understood what is machine learning and their concepts. Yes. When a new input output prediction is wrong, will we train again on previous data or new data? Very good question. Same data, same training data, but this time you will increase the intensity, or you will increase the what do you call you will yeah, you will increase you will change the method approach. Okay. Sometimes you may increase the samples, or you may use the same samples. See, actually you are training your model means you will supply some data to your model to learn from that data. Okay. If after that, if it is learning correctly, okay, or you can check their accuracy. According to the accuracy, you can say that your model is correctly learning or not. How can you check the accuracy? For example, you won't give only one input, one new input. I'll give 10 inputs. If it says 9 correct, then what is its accuracy? 90%, right? So I can say that, okay, 90% accuracy is very good. Sir, if we use same samples again, it would give wrong output. Sometimes. That's why what I will do is I will increase the sample training sample space. Okay. In the future sessions, you will learn that. You will know that. Okay. Otherwise, actually, you will only supply that when you are writing the programs related to the machine learning. Your job is to just supply the data. That's it. Okay. Just supply the data. That's it. Whether how much data it requires, and everything will be the percentage of training and testing data will be given by us only. Okay. For example, if my data set contains 100 examples, for example, okay, I'll allocate 80 examples for training and only 20 examples for testing. Will your model will learn correctly or not? Probability is there to learn correctly. Am I right? So you have to check after training all the 80 examples. You have to check the accuracy of the system by means of the remaining 20 examples. Are you following my intention? Yes. So you have to check the accuracy of your system by remaining 20% of the data. Okay. That division will be done by you. I'll show in the next coming sessions. Okay. Up to now, it is clear what is machine learning, types of machine learning, terminology used in machine learning, and machine learning pipeline. All of you clear about all these four? Sir, will data augmentation help all the time? I mean, in all cases? Not in all cases. Not in all cases. Only in some only in some set of applications only it is applicable. For not for all, not all the applications will be satisfied with that data augmentation. Okay, that depends upon application to application. Okay, now let us see some domains in which the machine learning is used. So these are the various companies that are currently doing research on machine learning and artificial intelligence, and also produced so many products okay, on based on this machine learning algorithms. Okay, for example, hope all of you have using Google search engine, right? Google search engine, right? When you type some query or you will type some word or you are searching for any some word, it will automatically give the suggestions. Am I right? Have you observed or not? Please acknowledge through chat. Have you observed or not? If you are typing some word in Google search, it will automatically give some suggestions at the bottom. Am I right? For example, I space am very, it will automatically give the beautiful. Okay, it will automatically give intelligent. It will automatically give creative. It will automatically give the such kind of words will be automatically come. You no need to type. Am I right? So that is one kind of machine learning. As per the words that you have typed previously, it will predict the next word. It is one example of machine learning. Similarly, if you take Netflix, I think some of you people are already using Netflix. It will give some movie recommendations based on your taste or based on the movies that what you have watched previously. For example, you are continuously watching Pawan Kalyan movies. As the next movie, it will suggest another Pawan Kalyan movie. Or if you are continuously watching scientific movies like Interstellar, Independence Day, such kind of scientific movies you are continuously watching, what it will do is it will suggest you the another scientific movie. Have you observed this or not? In YouTube also the same thing will be happen. If some of the girl students are very much interested in cooking, they will try to learn from new food cooking skills. Okay, for example, if they learn how to cook biryani, how to cook fried rice, or how to cook any curries, if they are continuously watching such kind of videos, the YouTube will automatically recommend a new cooking video which is on her interest. Girls, have you observed this or not in YouTube? Anybody, please give me the yes. If you are continuously watching some melody songs in YouTube, okay, Devi Sri Prasad songs or A.R. Rahman songs in YouTube, you are continuously watching, it will suggest always A.R. Rahman songs. But if you see the same thing, if you observe this YouTube app, the same YouTube app in your friend's mobile, the recommendations will be different. I don't know how many of you observed that. The recommendations will be in one way in your YouTube. The recommendations are different in your friend's YouTube. Am I correct or not? Am I correct or not? Why that difference is there? It will recommend the videos based on the videos what you have currently watched or what you have previously watched. Yes, previously watched. It will automatically recommend. This is also one kind of machine learning. Okay. Like that real estate websites. Okay, if you are searching for a building or a site in a particular area continuously, it will recommend some other sites and plots in the same area or 2 to 3 kilometers distance area. Okay, in Voyo also, if you search any rooms in Hyderabad, Bangalore or Chennai, okay, if you open Voyo next time, definitely it will recommend some results based on your previous searches. Okay, so this everything will comes under the machine learning. So this is one more application which is currently being held by IBM, that is IBM Watson. How many of you know this IBM Watson? I think some of you people have already heard about IBM Watson, right? So this IBM Watson is current research is going on based on artificial intelligence and machine learning in IBM. Okay, it will do some, it is going to design some large scale applications like image classification, image identification, image processing, all these things, right? And this person which I'm displaying currently may be known by most of you people. Who is she? Who is she? Sophia, right? Good. Okay. So humanoid robot, very good. So Sophie will answer your questions. Sophie has given so many interviews. Okay. If you want to make a conversation with a robot, you can build some chatbots. Okay, the chatbot is also one kind of application, machine learning application. Okay, you can design so many chatbots, and we have so many movies came on machine learning. Okay, before that, one more thing I want to discuss. How many of you are using Facebook? How many of you are using Facebook? Most of you people, right? I don't believe anything says that I don't have Facebook account. Is there anyone doesn't have Facebook account? Is there anyone? Sai Soumya Serapu, you don't have Facebook account. Okay. I don't believe the people nowadays doesn't have a Facebook account. How many of you know up to 2017 your Facebook data has been managed by two bots called, one is Bob and Alice, before 2017. Bob and Alice are the servers that has been set by the Facebook based on completely on artificial intelligence. Okay. Facebook also began research doing research on artificial intelligence related applications using by setting up these servers. One server is called as Bob and another server is called Alice. In 2017, suddenly they observed that Bob and Alice communicating with each other without their intervention. 2017లో ఫేస్బుక్ ఆ వింగ్ లో వర్క్ చేస్తున్న వాళ్ళు ఏం గమనించారంటే వాళ్ళ ప్రమేయం లేకుండా ఈ రెండు బాట్స్ మాట్లాడుకుంటున్నాయి. ఓకే, అది కూడా వాళ్ళకి అర్థం కాని లాంగ్వేజ్ లో. ఆ లాంగ్వేజ్ ఏంటో చూపిస్తాను చూడండి. ఐ కెన్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఎల్స్. బాబ్ చెప్తున్నాడు ఐ కెన్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఎల్స్. ఆలిస్ చెప్తుంది balls have 0 to me, to me, to me, to me, to me. Bob is saying again you, I, everything else. That means what they have done is Alice and Bob has developed their own language. Yes, they have developed their own language and they have started communication. What Bob is saying that I can do everything. Bob is again saying that if you and me had worked together, we can create so many miracles. This conversation is happening without the knowledge of the people who are working in that wing. That's why see ఆటోమేటిక్ మీరు సడన్ గా మొబైల్ యూస్ చేస్తున్నారు అనుకోండి. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యూస్ చేస్తున్నారు చాలా మంది. మొబైల్లో ఇప్పుడు మీరు జూమ్ ఈ కాన్వర్సేషన్ చూస్తున్నారు లేకపోతే సెషన్ అటెండ్ అవుతున్నారు. సడన్ గా మొబైల్ మీ మాట వినకుండా అది దానికి నచ్చినట్టు బిహేవ్ చేసింది అనుకోండి, వాట్ ఈస్ యువర్ ఫీలింగ్? Yes, the same thing has been happened with these two. Okay, so the people in that wing, the people has afraid that these two bots are communicating with each other with unknown language. Okay, immediately what they did is they shut down those systems immediately. Okay, why? Because they completely learned and they started thinking their own. అంటే సొంతంగా ఆలోచించడం మొదలు పెట్టాయి, which is very dangerous for the future. Am I right? So this is what the extent of machine learning that has been used by the Facebook. Okay, based on this we have so many movies. One is iRobot. I don't know how many of you have watched this movie. Okay, the same thing what Alice and Bob has did. యాక్చువల్లీ ఈ మూవీ వచ్చిన తర్వాత అది జరిగింది. ఐరోబోట్ సినిమా వచ్చిన తర్వాత, ఐరోబోట్ ఎప్పుడు 2010లోనే ఎప్పుడు వచ్చింది, కానీ ఆలిస్ అండ్ బాబ్ కాన్వర్సేషన్ చేసుకోవడం 2017లో జరిగింది. అంటే 2017లో ఇలా జరుగుతుందనే విషయం 2010లోనే తెలిసిపోయింది. యాక్చువల్గా ఐరోబోట్ మూవీలో ఏం జరుగుతుందంటే, వాళ్ళకు రోబోట్ని డిజైన్ చేస్తారు. అంటే జనరల్ మనుషుల సౌకర్యార్థం, ఫర్ ద సేక్ ఆఫ్ హ్యూమన్ కంఫర్ట్స్. Okay, what they have done is they have designed the robots for each and every company, just like our Samsung, LG, అలాగా ప్రతి రోబోట్ కి కంపెనీస్ ఉంటాయి అన్నమాట. సో రోబోట్స్ అలా కంటిన్యూస్ గా డిజైన్ చేయడం వల్ల ఏంటైందంటే, తర్వాత ఈ రోబోట్స్ వాటికి అవే సొంతంగా ఆలోచించడం మొదలు పెడతాయి. సొంతంగా ఆలోచించడం మొదలుపెట్టి హ్యూమన్ మీద ఫైట్ చేయడానికి స్టార్ట్ అవుతాయి. ఓకే, దాన్ని ఎలా ఎలాగా ఓవర్కమ్ చేశారనేదే మూవీ. దీనికన్నా ముందు ఇంకొక మూవీ వచ్చింది, వాట్ దట్ ఈస్ టెర్మినేటర్. ఓకే, వార్ విత్ మెషిన్స్, టెర్మినేటర్ అనే మూవీ వచ్చింది. దిస్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో వెరీ హై, ఇట్ విల్ షోస్ ద హై రేంజ్ ఆఫ్ ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్. ఓకే, సో మీరు అన్నట్టు రోబో కూడా వచ్చింది. ఓకే, based on machine learning. These are the movies that has been released so far. Okay, let me show you one some sample video. Okay, to know how much research is going on currently on machine learning in the outside world. Okay, please watch this video. Artificial soldier. సరే కరెక్ట్. Duplicate person పోతుంది. So all of you watched the video? So now people, you understand what is machine learning is, right? Okay, fine. With or without lag, you watched the complete video, right? Now you understand why should we learn machine learning, right? Why should we learn machine learning? Okay, so this is the currently research is happening outside. Okay, any doubts? Any doubts? So I'll give you a URL now. Okay, I'll give you one URL. In that URL, please upload the program what I have given previously. I think all of you have written the program of electricity bill generation, right? Electricity bill generation. Yes, yes, everything is fine if it is if it is under control. If it is out of control, it is very difficult. How many of you have written electricity bill generation program? I will give you a link. Please upload that in your program in that link. Those who have finished. I already given 2 days ago. Okay. Please upload your program in that link. Okay. Is that clear? All of you note down that URL. Okay, in that URL, please upload the program what we have discussed in 2 days ago, the electricity bill generation. Okay. So any doubts? Shall we wind up the session? Yeah. I'll tell. So this is the link. So this is the link you have to open and upload your program. Okay. Any doubts? Shall we wind up the session?
Pawan sir, can we end the session, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.